Guys, this is PARM with Pro Box Respect TKO. I'm at the Landmark Hotel, Frank Warren boxing event with John Rawling, commentator for Box Nation and BT Sport. John, how are you, sir? You all right?
Very well, yeah. Looking forward to another big one on Saturday night. The tickets have gone brilliantly. There's going to be a tremendous atmosphere, I'm sure. It's one to, it's one to look forward to. Great night for the boxing fans.
Absolutely. John, throughout this year, Frank Warren's really delivered the big events, but he's really saved the best one for the last, really, isn't he, in some ways?
Well, we had a great show over in Belfast a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, with Carl Frampton's return.
Yeah.
And this one's right up there with it. Lee Selby's got big fights promised in 2018 against Josh Warrington, potentially as well against Carl Frampton if he comes through that one. So big night in prospect for him. He's got to beat Ramirez and look good in the process. But also it's another homecoming, isn't it? Another return. Definitely. And I think it's caught the imagination of the fans. James Degale not fought here in, 2.5 years now?
2.5 years.
2014 or thereabouts. It's lovely to see him back. I've always enjoyed watching James box. Definitely. He's a very nice guy to work with, and it's going to see him. Lovely to see him in action at close quarters once more and calling one of his fights.
Definitely, and what the nice thing about James coming back after 2.5 years is the names he's got on his CV as well, hasn't he? And that tremendous fight back in January with Badu Jack. Fighting with one arm, as he said, but as he said, now he's all fit and ready. So just going back to Lee Selby, as we understand it, Ramirez, not only did he come overweight, but at the moment he's missing isn't he, from this press conference?
Well, he's missed the press conference, but I think they've tracked him down, and he claims that he missed his taxi or whatever. But it's it doesn't strike me as terribly professional on the back of failing to make the weight. He was something like 8 pounds over the featherweight 9 stone limit, which is just it's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
And the British Boxing Board of Control, for safety reasons, have said that they don't want to see him weighing in at less than 9 stone 2. So the way it works is that Lee Selby can't lose his IBF title as a result of this. He will remain the champion. And I feel sorry for Lee. I mean, he seems to have had a year of frustration, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But mercifully, he's got this great 2018 potentially mapped out, and he really does believe. And there's a lot of people within the sport, I can tell you as well. A lot of people in the sport believe that he's got the style to give trouble and potentially beat both Josh Warrington and Carl Frampton. Big outside fights, possibly for Elland Road, maybe in late spring, and possibly a fight if he can come through that against Carl Frampton over in Belfast. He's got massive fights coming up, and if he were to get through all those, then something like a fight against Leo Santa Cruz would be a natural after that. So he's potentially got a great year.
Yeah, I just pose that question to his trainer Tony Borg as well. Obviously, let's hope Saturday night goes ahead first with Ramirez.
Let's hope so, yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, Josh Warrington, Carl Frampton. I was there actually a couple of years ago when Lee won his world title at the O2. I think an amazing fighter. What's sort of a little bit scary is not only his skill set, but if he had a bit of a bang on him as well. Can you imagine what type of fighter? He'd be amazing.
He'd be phenomenally difficult to beat, wouldn't he?
He would.
Even now, I think Lee has been, to some extent, an avoided man, because you've stood next to him.
Yeah.
He is enormous for a featherweight. He stands about 5'9" or thereabouts.
He does.
And that's he's walking around comfortably that size and at that weight. He's a very difficult man to beat. He's a stylist, and he's shown us as well. He's come through personal adversity, as well as the fighters in the ring, and he's shown that he's enormously professional. He's a very good fighter.
And you know what, John? Just you probably just hit the nail on the head as well, because for a tall featherweight, 5'9", the champion's made the weight, so 9 stone, and just shows you how professional he is. John, just quickly, just mentioning some huge names on the undercard. Obviously, you've got James Degale as the main event. You've got Lee Selby, you've got Anthony Yarde, Daniel Dubois, Johnny Garton, Joe Mullender. How do you see some of those fights going, mate? Is there any particular on the undercard that you're really excited about yourself?
I'm looking forward to seeing Anthony Yarde again. He's the guy who excites me of all the young talents coming through. Daniel Dubois he's done everything that's been asked of him so far. Dorian Darch, he'll go in there and give it a go, but I anticipate another knockout win. This is unquestionably Anthony Yarde's toughest fight so far on paper.
Yep.
This guy from Montenegro, he's been in against Stieglitz. He went the distance with him, got a draw against Robert Stieglitz, went the distance with Arthur Abraham, and claims that Abraham got a hometown decision. I saw that fight, and he showed there that he is a very, very tough guy. Anthony has knocked out 11 of 12 opponents so far, never been past 4 rounds. And
That's
you could
true.
see from the face-off between the two of them, this guy's not come here to lie down. He
True.
was right in his face, eyeballing him as much as to say, right, welcome to the big world. And he said this fight's come too soon. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It'll tell us a bit more about Anthony Yarde.
Absolutely. And what people, I mean, I know he's a puncher, and as you said, he's, whatever his KO ratio is 98%, but I've seen him at close quarters at Peacock Gym, and he really studies. He's a real student of the boxing game,
Yeah.
and he's got a great trainer in terms of Tunde Ijaya as well. So what do you think 2018, maybe even 2019 holds for Anthony Yarde then? Can you see him in world title fights?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely certain. How far down the road that is, I'm not too sure. Remember, he didn't have an awful lot of amateur pedigree. He only had a handful of amateur
About
fights.
a dozen fights, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. Before launching into the pro world. So he's learning as he goes along. But it's such a fast learning curve. Tunde's doing a great job with him, and the world title fights, the big tests, will inevitably come. He's getting a big fan base. People are turning up to watch him. And he's got the sort of talent which I believe can take him all the way to the top. When you've got somebody as good as John Conti saying this guy is special, then sit up and believe it, because John was probably the best light heavyweight we've had.
Absolutely, and a real nice guy as well. John, looking forward to a Saturday night as media and also as a fan. So hope to see you there, and thank you for today. It's been a real privilege.
You certainly will see me there, because if not, I'm in trouble.
Don't go missing with Ramirez.
I'll be there.
See you there, mate. Take care.